Welcome to Tier List Galaxy.
Hello, and welcome to Tier List Galaxy. Today we are going to be doing a power ranking of all the forms of Naruto and Sasuke, throughout the series from Part 1 to Boruto. It's nice to have you along for the ride, and without further ado, let us get started. Early Part 1 Naruto vs Early Part 1 Sasuke. We all know that there is no brainer in this one, at least from how it was portrayed. Sasuke seemed to be far ahead of Naruto at this point. He was the genius of the new students, meanwhile Naruto on the other hand was the clown and troublemaker. So yeah, Sasuke easily wins here. Chunin exams. So as we moved further into Part 1, things began to change. Naruto's zeal to succeed allowed him to grow by leaps and bounds. At the Chunin exams, he was much more skilled with using his clones, and could already make use of the Nine Tails power to a certain extent. This power together with the usage of his clones he was able to trick and defeat Neji. But Sasuke could already use Chidori after training under Kakashi before the exams. So, it's a bit difficult to choose here, and for me, it could go either way. Hospital Rooftop Battle. We can all remember the battle at the hospital rooftop between Naruto and Sasuke, after both had managed to master the Rasengan and Chidori respectively. At least for me, this battle was a clear indication of who held the edge at this point in the series. And I believe even the author intended to make it clear. After their little exchange, even Sasuke himself was surprised at how much Naruto had grown. And this is how he began leaning more towards the dark side. And finally for Part 1, we have the battle at the Valley of the End. At this point both were arguably the strongest of the young shinobi in the series. Naruto was able to make use of even more power from the Nine Tails and was already able to summon a tail. Meanwhile his mastery over the Rasengan and usage of clones had improved exponentially. Sasuke wasn't in any way inferior though. After training under Orochimaru, he had already mastered the curse mark to the second level. Both gained the edge at various points during the fight. But when they maxed out their abilities, with Sasuke awakening the third Tomoe of the Sharingan, things got a lot more interesting. In the end Sasuke won the fight, but Naruto had already made his intentions clear and didn't clash head-on with Sasuke. He instead went for the latter's headband. But if we are comparing the forms fairly, then it's a 50-50. Now let's move into Part 2, that is Shippuden. The situation here is quite similar to the start of Part 1, where Sasuke is actually far ahead of Naruto. This is clearly portrayed when the newly formed Team 7 Naruto, Sasuke and Sai, invaded Orochimaru's hideout, and were absolutely no match for Sasuke. Akatsuki invasion. Seeing Sasuke's immense growth, Naruto was pressured to become stronger, and thus managed to master a new jutsu that involved chakra change, the Rasen Shuriken. It was numerous times more powerful and destructive compared to the Rasengan. It took Naruto a lot of hard work and the guidance of Kakashi to master this new technique, but it was worth it. Eventually this jutsu, together with some trickery, allowed him to defeat Kakuzu of the Akatsuki. This didn't mean he had surpassed Sasuke though, because as we know Sasuke at this point in the series was a beast. Had full mastery over the three Tomoe Sharingan as well as the Cursed Seal. So overall I will still give him the edge over Naruto at this point. As we moved further into the arc, Naruto and Sasuke managed to unlock even more power. Naruto was able to use the Nine Tails chakra right up to the Four Tails, although at this point he's no longer in control. Sasuke on the other hand could fully utilize the Curse Seal, at the second level without any drawback. Naruto in this mode managed to repel Orochimaru, with the latter being unable to do anything to him. Sasuke on the other hand, fought several Akatsuki members, for example Deidara, Itachi, and although they weren't easy battles, he did well. However, if we are to compare these two forms, Naruto should take the win, because the Four Tails form can take anything from Sasuke unlike the reverse. Pain invasion. In this arc Naruto managed to master Sage Mode, powerful enough to battle against Pain. Although he needed Kurama's chakra to win, it was only against the most powerful Pain, Tendo. Sage Mode was enough to easily handle the other pain paths. Sasuke unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan, and could go against the Kaga at the 5 Kaga Summit. It could go either way if they are to battle, and Naruto said they would both die, if they are to fight. Fourth Shinobi World War. Before the curtains of the war were drawn, Naruto and Sasuke had already unlocked the Nine Tails Chakra mode and Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan respectively. A clone of Naruto was already capable of battling powerful Kage like the Third Raikage, and each clone could change the tide of a battlefield. Sasuke was still getting used to the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, so I will give Naruto the edge in these two forms. However, before Sasuke had completely mastered the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which he did, and unlocked an even more powerful version of the Susanoo, Naruto also managed to completely control the Nine Tails. And thus awakened a new mode, the Biju mode. At this point he was only inferior to Rinnegan, Obito. So even though Sasuke had become more powerful, the gap actually increased. In their battle with Ten Tails Jinchuriki Obito, Naruto managed to combine Sage mode with Biju mode while Sasuke on the other hand fused the Curse Seal with his Susanoo. Together they did well against Obito. Although Sasuke could fight side by side with Naruto, it didn't mean he was equal to him. The Curse Seal isn't equal to Sage mode anyway, so the gap between him hadn't reduced in my opinion. Late into the Fourth Shinobi World War came the Rikudo forms. Upon meeting the Sage of Six Paths, Hagoromo, Naruto acquired the Sage of Six Paths mode, while Sasuke acquired the Rinnegan. I think it is at this point that Sasuke had finally closed the gap that existed since the start of the war. They forced Madara to desperately retrieve his second Rinnegan and awaken the Rinnegan Sharingan before being a match for them. Although I said the gap closed, we could see in the final battle that Naruto still held the edge, and Sasuke couldn't do anything to him even if he wanted to. So, the gap actually truly closed, when Sasuke absorbed the tailed beast's chakra into his Susanoo, while Naruto absorbed the natural energy around into his avatar. Their final clash was proof of everything, and the battle can be said to have been an equal battle. It was from that day that they have mostly been considered equal, which brings us to Boruto, where we could see them battling side by side against Momoshiki, Ishiki Otsutsuki without one being inferior to the other. There's no need thinking too much here, because they will never battle again against each other. However, before we go, remember that Naruto awakened one more ability, or power, in his desperate attempt to defeat Ishiki Otsutsuki. Many refer to it as the Baryon mode, and if we are to consider this mode, then it would be fair to say Naruto has once more leaped past Sasuke, but for all we know, it was just a desperate attempt, and probably a one-time thing. So that's it about our ranking of all the forms of Naruto and Sasuke. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more awesome Naruto content. Bye bye.